So this is the Zohar Kodesh Benukad in Pirush of Matok Medavash. Matok Medavash. This is Parshas Pinchas. Parshas Pinchas, very long parsha. Goes through a lot of things. Goes through Yecheskel's vision. Now it's in a strange place. It's in a place where it's comparing spheros to the organs of the body. It's talking about particular spheros at different times. And right now we're going to check in and see where we're coming from. Now, a lot of this has to do with the thinking of the Matok Medivash and how he understands Rabbi Shimon. The Matok Medivash is a person who, after surviving the Holocaust, wound up in Israel, and he knew that he had, because a miracle had taken place that actually allowed him to live the way he understood it. So he made it his business to learn everything he possibly could about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Zohar in the town that he came from in eastern Hungary. The rabbi there was a Makubal. There were Makubalim there. But the level of Kabbalah that was achieved here by the Matok Medivash is to write a modern contemporary Pirush on words that are very difficult to understand. Now, to understand the Matok Medivash, though, because I love it, he brings different Kedushim from the Uriah Kodesh. So some knowledge of the Uriah Kodesh is necessary in order to be able to really follow this. Now, in keeping with Kabbalistic tradition, to a certain extent, we don't translate everything. So if you're not really good at the basics here, which is to understand the language, because learning Kabbalah is also learning a different language. So it uses, the medium in which it exists is in, what we call Torah Hebrew, the Hebrew of Torah scholars. And, let's say the Zohar itself is written in Aramaic. So the Matok Medivash, though, is using the Hebrew of Torah scholars to be able to translate from the Aramaic and also bring in, with God's help, the Uriah Kodesh. So what I've been doing is I've been going like, this is very mysterious to me. So he says, he goes through the letters, maybe Yud-K, Vav-K, but particularly he's been talking about Vavs. The Vav is an extremely important letter. Again, looking at the Yud-K, Vav-K in a laddered formation, that is the Yud on the top and the final K on the bottom, you see that the Vav is in between two Ks. So you go up, it could go down. It has a bottom part, it has a top part. So now he says lots of different things said about this by the Rashbi, different places too. He said, Vav Ilah Tiferes. So the upper Vav is called Tiferes. Bein Shis Pirkin the Trin Drawing. And it appears apparently between 6 different sections of the 2 arms. So the arms are divided into 3, that makes 6. Vaginda, and that's the reason why Vav, when you write out the word Vav, it has to have 2 Vavs in it. That's the way I understand this. Now, I'm sorry I really screwed this up so that it was not visible, so I'll start it again. Where was I? What was I reading? Down here. That's what it was. I didn't turn the page. Okay, so that's it. I have to turn the page. That's it. So he says, let me go back on. Let me get back on here. So he says, Guf u bris chashvin and chad. The body itself, and then the bris, which is attached on it, is considered to be one. Be'inan porsei konefayim, and this is the concept that we see over here about the Cheruvim. He said, porsei konefayim lamala, that their wings were spread open up above. Why? L'kabel vav v'lo lahu, in order to be able to bring down the vav, the upper vav, onto them. A mesitre iskare nevi ha'emes, and from this point of view, I'm not sure what he means by mesitre, which means his side or his place. They are called nevi ha'emes. Now, let's see if it's possible to understand what is being said here. So, he had mentioned in other places, just parenthetically, as we're about to look at the Matuk B'Devash, maybe we could bring it down a little bit now. So, we're about to look at this and analyze it. I forgot what I was going to say, so let's just go on. El Yona v'harishon sheb'shtei vavim shel vav ala vav. So you had to read it together. Vav law teferis vav. So this vav, El Yona, there's an upper vav, which is the first vav of the two vavim. And which two vavim are we talking about? We're talking about the vav on the right and the vav on the level with that aleph in the middle. That's the way you spell out vav. That's a way to spell out vav. So Shalvav, the Milui Shem Ma Shebazah, for the purpose of a Milui of Ma Shebazer Anpin. So this Vav is where you find it in the Milui of Ma of Zer Anpin. You have to know that. That's a little complicated. He B'Teferes Shebakabim Soy. So this is found in the Teferes of the middle line. He B'Teferes Shebakabim Soy. It's a Ker Teferes over there. Ben Shis Pirkin the Trin Droi. Who bein hashisha prakim shalabes roa, so it's somewhere in the middle between chesed and gevura. Chug. V'amar v'chein vav aleph vav v'milui yesh ba beis vavim. It always has two vavim in it. Then it has an aleph, aleph. So he said, let me get it lined up. Be'em sa'isa is in the middle. Mora shehem echad. So what? Aleph shows that the two vavs are equal, or no, they're one. Now, in other places, in the Otras Chaim, there's a statement over there, V'netzach and Hod are shtei paligufa. So he's been comparing this vav, this letter vav, to the concept of a leg. So he said, V'yisod ana choshvim osam le'echad. We consider them to be like one. Because they're always tied together. But the Netzach and Hod, Heim Ka'ayim base Kruvin, they like the two cherubs, Shene'ema Behem, that it says in regards to them, V'ho Kruvim, Porse Kanefayim Lamala, they had their wings spread open upwards. The hand of the Kabbalah Vav who, in order to be able to bring that upper Vav onto them, Keneged Oz Vav Agadayla, there's a big Vav now, wants to say, and a little Vav. Shehi Hatferish Shuhu Aleihim, which is up above them. Another way of saying up above, from a different view, is Panimi. Ki Haim Naasim Merkavim, the Teferes, because they become, Haim Naasim Merkava, the Teferes, they become a Merkava for Teferes. What's a merkava for Teferes? It means, in other words, a vehicle, it's a cleat. Let's read it again. Keneged Oz Vav Agedoy Shehi Teferes Shuhu Aleihim, which is up above them. Ki Haim Naasim, they make themselves into, what is this? This second Vav, Merkava the Teferes. So he said the Mitzad Midas Emes, beside the Midah called Emes, the Teferes, Emes is called Teferes, Teferes is called Emes. Kitan Emes the Yaakov is Teferes. Midas Emes to Teferes, Nekroim Hanavim. So let me read again. I'll read out. Hanavim Haminaboyim Menatzach and Hod, the Via Emes. So we have a person, first of all, I know very little about it. It's the concept that Nevuah comes from somehow from a relationship between Netzach and Hod. So this was the Neviah, and Neviah means something like flowers, those who cause to flow, something like that. Neviah Emes of truth. Now let's see what those are. He said, "V'mitzad din the midas Emes, which is the middle line to Teferes, nekroim hanevim hamiznavim and Netzach and Hod, Neviah Emes, because somehow there's a relationship between the Nai, which is Netzach and Hod, and the Yisod, which is in the middle, which is the Kibul in some way of that upper vav." Well, that's it. That's Baruch Fleischman. This is really Mystery City over here. Parshas Pinchas. We just gotta do the best we can.